Hi, it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and today I'm designing a layout for Bramble Fox. And I'm using some new perspectives. They are so new that they, at the time of making this video, they were not up on the website, and there wasn't even a graphic available in our DT group. So they literally landed on my doormat and went straight onto my desk. So we get two perspectives in this set. One says Little Star and the other one says Love You to the Moon and Back. So I presume that the set will be called one of those titles, but I will pop a note in the description box below once I know for sure, so that you know what you're looking for on the store. But like I said, you get two titles in the set, and they are a gorgeous kind of charcoaly navy colour. It's one of my favourite colour acrylics that Morag uses for her perspectives. It's so universal and goes with anything, this colour, but I love to use it with this collection. It's called By Starlight and it's by Rosie Studio. Now, I was really honoured recently to have been asked by Morag to create some layouts and classes for her Paper Fox crop, and this was the collection I used to create my layouts. I've got loads of it left, so I'm going to be using it today, and I just love how it goes with that colour perspective. Just really matches nicely. Got loads of like purples and navies in it, this collection, and a hint of gold. So I'm going to bring in some gold with this layout as well. So I've gone with the Little Star title for this layout, and I've cut some strips of paper from two of the patterned papers. I've got that gorgeous kind of navy blue one. It's got different tones of blue in, but it's got a foiled gold star like constellation pattern on it, and another one that is lilac with little polka dots in white. And I love how these two colours go together. And I've just dressed the edges of all the strips, torn the ends for a bit of texture, and I'm just going to arrange them in kind of two corners of the page. So very similar to the layout I created recently with the teapot set, and I'd done two corners and done some stitching and some mixed media. So I'm going to do similar style to that. I'm just going to focus on two opposite corners, building up these paper strips, and then I'm going to embellish in those corners. And I kind of want an almost crisscross pattern in the corner where the paper strips meet, so I am overlapping them. And then I'm using some of the lovely glittered vellum stars that you get in this collection. I'm just using the purple and blue ones, and I'm just arranging them at the point of crossover with those paper strips, and then coming obviously down and out a little bit more. And I'm trying to vary the size and the glitter pattern on each of them. And I'm just checking I've got enough in each size, just focusing on that top corner for now, because this is where I want my title to sit. I want to add a little bit of subtle mixed media to this layout. So I've pulled that Fox Cut 17, which is my new favourite stencil. I've been meaning to order this one for so long, and I just keep forgetting to add it to my basket, and I've finally ordered it now. So I think it's going to be featuring heavily in all of my layouts, at least for the next few months, because you know what it's like when you get a new toy and you just got to use it on everything. So that is going to be me and this stencil, I think, at the moment. So I've pulled out a couple of ink pads. The first colour I used there, a lovely light kind of purpley lilac colour. I think it's called Shaded Lilac actually, and that was a distress ink. And then I've moved the stencil slightly just to give a little white strip next to each starburst, sort of starburst design I suppose, or strip if you want to call them. And then I've gone over that with a Distress Oxide in Picked Raspberry, just trying to get the colour down where I'd moved the stencil slightly. So I didn't want to overlap the purple completely, just wanted to add a little hint of pink down each starburst sort of design. So you'll see in the close-ups a bit clearer how I've done that. And some of the ink does overlap, I'm not that bothered. The colours really match the papers in the collection when they mix, so I actually really like the effect it gives. And I've concentrated the colour more in the centre of that stencil, and then as I've come out I've pressed a little bit lighter with a lot less ink so that it kind of fades out. And I am going to repeat that on the opposite corner as well when I get around to it. And I've popped my vellum stars in place now. I've secured those down with glossy accents. Same thing with my perspective. I've peeled off the protective front and backing, and then used my glossy accents to get that stuck in place. And then I've added a few chipboard stars as well. So one in like a lilac-y blue colour and a couple in gold. And I'm going to sort of spread out the gold a little bit on this layout and have hints of it here and there. That is largely that top corner complete for now. I am going to add a few perspective stars in a bit, but that is done for now, and I just want to focus on this bottom corner because that's where my photo is going to sit. So I'm just again building some strips up and having them overlapping, and I'm using varied sizes and lengths. So you can see the blue and gold foiled paper in the top corner is slightly thicker, and then I'm using thinner strips down in the bottom just for a bit of variation and to mix and match, I guess. I didn't want this layout to be too symmetrical, which goes against everything I believe in because I have a bit of kind of OCD when it comes to patterns and symmetry, and I like things to be symmetrical and centered on a page, which is quite hard when you're a scrapbooker really, because more often than not you kind of want to vary things and don't have them symmetrical. So it definitely pushes me out of my comfort zone a little bit scrapbooking. But yeah, for this I've just varied the width of the strips a bit. I'm just getting those stuck down with double-sided tape. I've got some really thin tape, so that worked really well for those. And I did think initially about going over those with my sewing machine and adding some white stitching. And I actually, you can't see it on camera, but I had my sewing machine set up, turned on, plugged in, ready to go next to me. And then decided that I just got so carried away with my vellum stars, got all of those stuck down, and then I was like, oh, I forgot my sewing. So I decided just to forego the sewing on this one. And to be honest with you, I don't know if it would have added much to the layout anyway. Wouldn't have brought a lot more to the table. There's a lot of texture and sort of little details on this layout anyway. So I'm not too fussed that I forgot to do it. Now I'm working on my photo, so I initially had it printed 3x4. I've just trimmed it down slightly because 3x4 was just covering too much of that bottom corner. And I knew I wanted the photo to be bigger than my perspective title, but I didn't want it to be massive and sort of take over the page as such. So I've trimmed it down slightly. I'm going to back it with some white cardstock just to make it a bit more rigid and give it a nicer frame. And then the same two patterned papers that I've used for those paper strips, I'm just going to add a layer of each of those behind my photo, and I'm going to distress the edges like I did with the strips, and that brings in loads of texture and gives it a nice rough look. I just love the distressed look on my scrapbook pages, so I generally do distress the look of, the edges of everything. I'm going to get those in place and distressed, and then I'm going to add some craft foam behind my photo to raise it up off my page, because dimension is another thing I seem to strive for on my pages. I love lots of texture and dimension, so craft foam is amazing for that. Oh, and almost forgot about my tissue paper. I had this pulled out with the intention of maybe putting some kind of like roughed up tissue paper strips underneath or behind those paper strips in the corner, but I decided against that. But because I had it sat next to me, I thought I would add a layout behind my photo as well, just to soften up those edges. And as you can see, I've repeated that stenciling again in this corner as well, so using the same stencil, it's Fox Cut 17, and then the same two distress inks, or one distress ink and one distress oxide. And I took a little while just to decide whether I wanted my photo sort of straight or at an edge, or sort of at like an angle. And I decided that before I got that stuck in place, I just wanted to extend that stenciling out a little bit further, because I knew that once my photo was in place and then some embellishments, most of that stenciling in the bottom corner was going to get covered up. And in actual fact, I added it, extended it out, and a lot of it still got covered up. But there we go. And I decided to go straight for my photo just because everything else on the page was straight, so I thought it made more sense. And then I'm just going to mirror that top corner, so I'm going to have some more of the vellum stars with the glitter on in the bottom corner, a couple more chipboard ones, and then I want to bring in some gold as well, because I've got gold in the top left. So I've pulled out a couple of gold leaf sprigs from the die cut pack that came with this Rosie Studio set. I've got a tag here that I've just torn off because I've stuck my photo down with double-sided tape already. I couldn't slide the tag all the way under, so just cut it in half there so that I've only got to get the edge under. And I've got a little kind of like tag here. I can't read what it says from here. When I do my process videos, when I record the voiceover, I can only see my video in a little corner in the screen on my phone. So you'll be able to see more in the close-ups what that says, but on my screen at the moment I just can't see, I'm afraid. I'm coming back in now with a few more perspective stars. Now these were designed to go with the kit and the collection for the Paper Fox classes. So if you signed up to those classes and you bought this kit, you will have this pack of perspectives to hand if you haven't already used them all. But they go so well with this collection and perfect with that colour of the perspective title. So I wanted to bring a few of these in as well, and I've just scattered those in the two corners. And I love the little mini perspectives that Morag and Nicola make. They're just perfect to just add a little detail here and there. And you can easily get kind of 10 or 15 of them on the page without overpowering the page and making it look like you've put too much on it. They're just fab to just tuck in here and there and just add a little something to a page. And I love stars. Like, who doesn't love stars? You can put stars on any layout, but they work really well with this title. And I know there's different sets of stars in the store available at the moment. I think definitely the monochrome is my favourite element. I love black and white, just so striking. So yeah, loads of stars in the shop in different colours that you could use with this perspective title. I've just added another vellum star and a couple of die cut stars just to extend that design in the centre there, and just to bring the two corners together a bit more so that it makes it look like one design rather than two separate designs on the page, if that makes sense. I'm just adding some foam pads here underneath those leaf sprigs just to prop them up off the page a bit, make them look a bit more realistic and bring in some layering. And then I'm just threading some gold thread through that tag. I'm a big fan of threading things through tag. It really bugs me when I forget to put thread through them and I leave them what I call naked with nothing threaded through the hole. So I've used some gold metallic thread there that works really well with this collection. I've added a moon up to the top left corner as well, because obviously my title is Little Star, which makes me kind of think of nighttime and stars, and I've got loads of stars on the page, so I thought that gold moon would work quite nicely as well. I did decide putting a frame around the whole page, but decided against it on this one. I just thought didn't really make me go wow, and I didn't go, oh, I love that. So I just decided it obviously didn't look that great and wasn't needed. So ditched that idea. But I have finished the page off with some gold splatters, just using an acrylic metallic gold paint there, and I've just watered it down slightly and added the splatters to finish. And that is my layout complete today. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it and it's given you some inspiration. Like I said, when I made this video, the set hadn't been added to the store, but I'm sure by the time it goes live, it will be added, and you'll find the details and the title of this set in the description box below, along with the link to the store, to our Bramble Fox sign up page if you'd like to join the subscription service, and also to our Bramble Fox Friends Facebook group. So do head on over and join there for loads of inspiration. We've got fun and we have chats, lots of layouts shared, and obviously our monthly challenge is launched there as well that you can take part in. So do head on over if you're not already a member. But thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you next time.